The public safety plan will take place in Salt Lake City in 2025. This plan will tackle homelessness. According to Villa Jose on ProQuest, they state that most lawmakers support Mayor Edmund Hall's proposal to fix, quote, jail overcrowding, substance abuse, and housing costs. When we take a closer look at this plan, Salt Lake City pushes several approaches that seem promising at first. While these following things do speak to the general public, there are underlying issues which I'll address later in this video.
There is a desperate need for more housing, more shelter, more treatment, and more jail space than we currently have.
From the YouTube channel at KTV2 News, Salt Lake City's government wants to implement the following. 1. Add new shelter beds by offering up a city-owned property that will be used for a temporary campus facility for up to 24 months. 2. Assist the Other Side Village in adding more than 200 affordable tiny homes and will dedicate $5 million towards housing projects in the fiscal year 2026. 3. They'll fix the jail's overcrowding issue by increasing consequences for repeat offenders, prosecution, and according to Brigham Tomko from KSI, they'll raise a second conviction of hard drug possession to a third-degree felony to penalize repeat offenders. While it may appear helpful for crime and homelessness, there is a noticeable tone of criticism towards the homeless population. Additionally, it was stated in the video that security services at these parks will be added at closing hours to make sure people are complying with park curfews, which targets homeless people who have nowhere to sleep. While I don't doubt Mendenhall Hall's intention to help, her statement that, quote, people experiencing homelessness will be treated with respect and restored to dignity seems quite contradictory. To understand how people are reacting to Salt Lake City's 2025 plan, I did a quick Google search and looked at a Reddit post from 8 days ago. Firstly, although temporary emergency shelter beds are alluring, it doesn't solve the root causes of homelessness, as it is a temporary band-aid to the overarching issue. Which brings me to the second critique of the housing solution they provided. Creating 200 affordable homes, as usercool_writing points out, doesn't provide an answer to homelessness. Low-income housing cannot be substantiated without support services. This is by far the most harmful, but increasing police presence or jail space only worsens the cycle. Homeless individuals make up nearly half of Salt Lake County's arrests, and cracking down on homelessness with increased jail time, prison capacity, and substance abuse penalties harms the vulnerable rather than helps. The PDF for the public safety plan highlights some of these concerns. According to an anonymous service provider, homelessness in Utah increases annually. So, I propose what better way to fix this and examine another city's strategies that are effective. Houston, Texas is the best example. It is the fourth largest city in the US, but yet they managed to reduce homelessness by 64%, from 8,500 to about 3,200 people, according to CFTHouston.org. This is how they achieved this. Houston shifted away from temporary shelters, which Salt Lake City is focusing on primarily, to long-term housing with support services, according to publicmedia.org. In addition, permanently getting people off the streets is much more effective in the long run with housing services. In the article, examples given included literacy, food assistance, behavioral health, jobs, and more. Additionally, according to TheGoverning.com, they reported that 90% of people placed in housing remained housed a year later. While it costs about $18,000 per person, it is actually more cost-effective since keeping people on the streets costs 3 to 5 times more when you include jail time, emergency room visits, and other costs. Utah can follow this path. First, it must address permanent housing instead of over-policing and jail expansions. We could do this by redirecting the $19 million planned for jail expansions and other funding reported by Utah News Dispatch towards Housing First initiatives with support services, along with HUD grants like continuum of care and adopting models like Houston by working with landlords to increase housing access. Another way that may seem out of reach is fixing Utah's housing prices. Permanent supportive housing in Utah costs around $200K per unit, compared to the 58% lower cost in Houston. Although their population is 2.1 million, according to bestplaces.net. Reforms such as changes towards zoning laws and other affordable housing strategies will aid in reducing homelessness. Without such efforts, Utah could face an estimated $300 million investment in housing, according to Cato.org. Failing to invest in long-term solutions will lead to higher costs, whether through the ongoing effects of homelessness or short-term measures like jail expansions and emergency shelters. Houston's approach is a complete 180 from our initiatives. We need taxpayer dollars, federal funding, and philanthropies to go towards better housing solutions and reduce petty jail arrests. It is up to us to push our government to create important change in handling this dilemma. We need to follow a cost-effective, long-term, empathetic approach.